All right guys, I've had a pretty stressful morning and I thought, why not take a walk? And it gives me an opportunity to talk about something important. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I've been trying to build an online income for over 2 years now. And you know when they talk about results not being typical for everyone? Yeah, they were talking about me. So I'm based in Taiwan, and just recently we've had a few more cases of COVID, so everyone's wearing masks as we're walking around outside. It's pretty hot, but it's the only kind of outside space I can get into. I'm not allowed to go and film in the offices or anything that I normally do. So this is why we're walking and talking. So basically I've been trying to build a website. I've been following the Project 24 method, and I've got 3 sites, but I want to talk about site 1 and some of the real issues that I've had that have led to me being 24 months in and not actually making any money. Currently my traffic stands at about 18,000 in a month, and I'm only making just over $100 now, and most of that is coming from ads because my main affiliate, Amazon, is just not working for me anymore. In fact, my earnings for Amazon are down by about 2/3 in the last couple of months. So let's talk about why. So basically this video is what I would say to myself 24 months ago to avoid the mistakes that I've been making. So if you're interested in avoiding the same mistakes, then you better watch the video. So the most important thing for any niche site, any website, is actually choosing your niche. And just a few things that I've learned from my own mistakes when it comes to niche selection. So the most important thing for you is that you've got to be passionate about that niche. You've got to be interested in it, because trying to do what I was trying to do, earning that full-time income in 24 months, which I didn't manage to do, it's a long time. And it might sound easy, 2 years of your life, but 2 years can really take it out of you if you're not interested in what you're doing. And that happens to so many people. They start a blog because they think about the money, but they don't actually think about the actual content and the subject matter. So being very passionate about what you want to write about, either if you already know it, what it's about, you're an expert, or even if you just want to learn about it. But I would say for the niche that I chose for my first website, it is something that I quite liked. It was interesting to me, but it was a little bit too technical. It was a little bit beyond me. It's something that I didn't dedicate enough time to learning about, and that just put me at a disadvantage. So another thing to think about when you're selecting your niche is really who is searching for that kind of content. Who are you writing these blog posts for? So it's a key thing is there kind of a beginner market to this niche? It's all to do with kind of the idea of barrier to entry and exactly who is searching for it. So what I mean by that is, if you have a niche where most of the search terms are actually going to be by kind of semi-experts or people that need to have bought a product before they can actually do that search term, that's not really going to work out for you. But if you have a niche where there's lots and lots of beginners or people that are interested in learning about the thing, you're going to have much more success. So to give you an example, one of the things I used to do in the past was to fly small planes. I was a light aircraft pilot for a while, but before I ran out of money, basically. And so, lots of people might be interested in aircraft and things like that, but you're not going to get that many people searching for how do you change the oil in a Cessna 172. That group of people searching for that is much smaller than the group that are searching for how long does it take you to learn to fly an aircraft. By the way, it took me 45 hours over 2 years. A couple of other things to think about when you're selecting a niche is really the products in it, in terms of monetization. Are there affiliate deals? Are there products that you can link to, affiliate links? Because if you're in a niche where people don't actually buy anything, you're really going to cut your money in half. And especially if it's a niche where people don't traditionally buy things, they sort of hold on to their equipment or whatever it is for a long time. And this is something that got me for my first niche, my first site. And how do you learn that? How do you figure out if you're in a niche where people kind of don't buy a lot of things connected to it? Well, the only way to learn that is to immerse yourself in the niche beforehand. And another thing to do with monetization that really got me with my first site was you shouldn't pick any niche that has got any negative connection. If you've got a niche that is anything to do with, up until recently, firearms, although that's changed, tobacco, alcohol, sort of anything to do with sex, anything like that, a lot of your traditional advertisers are not going to want to do business with you. And that's really going to affect the amount of ad revenue that you can get on your site. So looking back at what I did now, one of the biggest mistakes I kind of made was when I first got started with Project 24, I was so excited about this idea of making money online. Honestly, 2 years ago, I thought it was going to be much easier. Write 30 posts and bam, making $1,000, $2,000 a month. Basically what I did with the niche is I went into a niche that I was kind of interested in. It was an idea that came to me suddenly, and I hadn't actually done the hobby that I was writing about. And I went straight into it. I started writing straight away, even before I'd ever actually done the hobby myself. What I wish I'd done is spent maybe a month or even 2 months just really learning everything I could about it, watching YouTube channels, actually going out and meeting people that actually were doing this hobby as well, because that would have given me a much better sort of foundation in the niche to understand what a beginner is searching for. Because if I'd done that, I would have come across obstacles that I didn't know how to solve, so I would have searched for that, and it would have told me the kind of the availability of information out there, and it would have helped me. But instead, I sat in my room, didn't actually do the hobby for the first 3 or 4 months, and just did it off like what I thought the answers were. And it ended up with me writing a lot of blog posts that never ranked and, weren't useful to anyone. Even when I did start the hobby, I would never ever go back and read my articles because they weren't relevant. And really, I think the fact that I didn't actually know a lot about my niche early on, it led me to really go for posts that were so niche that there was no search volume to them. And it's just, I would have known that was the case if I'd done a little bit more research into it. And the other thing I really had was, when I came and did my search analysis originally, I had lists and lists of queries that I wanted to write posts about. And I would wake up in the morning, sit down at my computer, look at the next post on the list and go, don't fancy that, or seems a little bit too difficult, I don't know anything about that. So I would skip it, and I would skip the next one until I found something that was really easy in my eyes. And generally, because it was so easy, it wasn't a really good post to write. And another thing that I've kind of realized about myself as a writer, because I've been doing this for 2 years now, whereas before, yeah, I did have a background in writing. I'd written content for websites before, not my own websites, but I'd never really gone into the journalistic kind of stance of being a writer. I'd always kind of just summarized the web. I went through and tried to arrange information in an easy way to find, but often that information was either false. Basically, I didn't understand what I was writing about because I hadn't learnt about it. I was just trying to summarize what other people were saying. And it honestly just, if I look back at some of the stuff I wrote 2 years ago, it's just really low quality. But that's something that we all have to learn. We all get better as writers as we go. But if I was talking to myself 2 years ago, I would say, you know, sit down, actually try and learn about it yourself, go and talk to real people, phone up some experts, do all those kind of things that everyone else isn't doing, because it probably would have put me ahead. And also, I think another thing I would tell myself is don't always try and go for the low volume, low competition posts. Put in a few that, you know, are really important posts within your niche. Even if you don't think you're going to rank for them, you can always interlink to that article. But sometimes you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you think, okay, my site's so new, I'm never going to rank for this. But in time, you might actually be able to rank for maybe not the top queries in your niche, but you might actually rank for some really decent ones that bring in traffic. So the problem I've got with my first site is most of my posts bring in very little traffic at all. My top posts are probably bringing in 500 to 1,000 page views a month, and that's probably only 2 or 3 out of over 100. And it's just basically because I was too chicken. The thing for me with getting the traffic and understanding search volume, all those kind of things, so I know a lot of people out there use these keyword research tools and things like that. But since joining Project 24, I've never really looked at them just because of what they've said about it. But now, because they've got this new course and they talk about all this new ways to come up with a more accurate search analysis, sort of search volume, and particularly for the kind of queries that most people would miss because of these keyword research tools, I'm a lot more confident in doing that. And just because I've built a couple of other sites which are doing a little bit better than site one, I also feel more confident getting the traffic and understanding what I did wrong. But in addition to getting the search volume, another big thing I did struggle with is monetization. And if you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that's true. Right guys, I'm really struggling to find anywhere in my city that is not noisy, but we're just gonna have to get used to it. If you live in a city, you kind of know what it's like filming. So my major Achilles heel has always been monetization. I'm feeling a lot more confident with the traffic, and I feel like now, you know, the more I work with it, the more sites I start, each one seems to be slightly better than the one before. But monetization is always quite difficult. And with my first site, I did really struggle with it. And it started off with the way I was doing it with ads. So I actually joined the Ezoic platform for ads maybe over a year ago. I put ads onto my site, and it really killed the speed, and possibly because of a coincidence with a Google update, it seemed to kill my traffic as well. So I took it off fairly quickly and kind of gave it up for being a waste of time. But luckily enough, I'm part of Project 24 and they have a brilliant community there. And basically they, through people in the community, particularly Josh, I put up his YouTube channel because he really has a lot of really good tips. He understands exactly how to set up Ezoic, and without him, a lot of us wouldn't be making the money that we are, so thank you, Josh. But because of the community, I was convinced to put it back on. And since then, it's just gone from strength to strength. And I actually looked at my stats today, not for my first site, but for one of my other sites. And it's just gone up, like in the last month, it's gone up from about $18 a day to nearly $40 a day, which is crazy, especially compared to my first site, which gets nowhere near that. Anyway, the point I was going to make was when it comes to ads, particularly something like Ezoic, which you can now join at much lower thresholds than even a few months ago. I think they're actually opening it up to people with as low as 1,000 page views. Certainly if you join Project 24, you can put Ezoic on your site from day one, really. But it takes a long time for them to kind of like get things optimized. You also have to do quite a lot. It's just not like turning on a button and you automatically get money. There's a few things to think about. So my advice to myself would be to sit down and actually learn how things work and not to expect everything to happen overnight, which is one of the biggest problems I have. I don't know if it's, I'm not impatient, it's just I don't take the time to learn how to do things properly, and that just always stunts the growth of my sites and the ability for me to make money. So in addition to the issues I had with my ads, the other way that I monetize my site is with affiliate offers, and I've really struggled there as well. To be honest, I've taken the rather easy route of just going with Amazon, and Amazon has been okay to me. I've never really made more than about $150 a month, but more recently my earnings have just been killed. I don't know what's happened. My traffic really for site one hasn't changed that much. If anything, it's plateaued. But my earnings have just gone down by 2/3 what they were a couple of months ago. And the issue I've had with affiliates is I've found it really hard, firstly, to find good affiliate offers within my niche and good affiliate offers within my niche that I can join. So some of the best affiliate programs within my niche, I joined and then they wouldn't pay me because I wasn't a US based, or I tried to join them and because I didn't have a US address, they wouldn't let me join. And I've just allowed these things to get in my way. I've fallen at the first hurdle. The advice I would give myself now, if I was talking to myself 2 years ago, even like last week, I would say basically don't take no as an answer. If you can't get through the online sign up form, find a contact and give them a call, send them an email, because sometimes the forms that people have on their websites are just not catered for everyone. They always assume that everyone lives in the US, which is not the case. And sometimes they are willing to work with you, especially if you have traffic. If you can prove to them that you are able to send a sizable amount of traffic to them, they're going to let you sign up as an affiliate because they want that traffic. So there is a way around it. But yeah, I've just let it get to me, and like basically I haven't got anything on site one apart from affiliate links for Amazon, and it's just not working anymore. But I'm sitting on, a lot of traffic that I could push towards a number of other affiliate offers, but because I don't like talking to people, because I get uncomfortable on the phone and that kind of stuff, I just haven't been able to monetize. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're expecting to be able to do this without any contact with anyone, which would be perfect for me, I would really like to earn money without having to deal with others, because to be honest, it's just something that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. It's not the case, even for affiliate marketers. So like one of the reasons why I wanted to take a walk today, because I was feeling stressed. I spent the whole morning trying to sign up for these pay-per-call kind of affiliate deals for site 3. And there's so many hoops to jump through, and you've got to talk to people on Skype and prove you are not just a bot or something like that. And yeah, it's not as easy as clicking a button in the dark. You've actually got to present yourself as a real business. And this is something that I'm having to learn. And it's taken me a while to get here, but I wish that I had learned it earlier. So hopefully this is something you can take away from this point. So there are some of you watching this now who have kind of watched me on this channel for a while, and you know a lot about what I've been doing right, what I've been doing wrong. And one of the biggest themes about my journey trying to build money online is that I keep starting new projects. I keep looking for the next best thing. And there are reasons for that. But the biggest tip I would give myself is focus on one thing. Basically choose something and put all of your effort into it for as long as you can, because the moment you take on something else, you're just not going to be able to keep up. And I mean, there is a caveat to that, because For me, the only success I found is on another site that I started 6 months after I started site 1 back in May 2019. So this other site I started in October of 2019, and that is the one that's actually proving to be a success. But would I have found the same success if I stuck to the one thing? I think probably I would, and I would be a lot more successful now. And for me personally, it's because I wanted to spread the risk. I thought the more little things I have going, the more likely I am to find something that's going to actually work for me. But it's actually counterproductive. So I'm not saying that you never start a second project or you don't start a YouTube channel alongside your blog, but try and build the basis for something before you move on to the next thing. And that's something I didn't do. And I've really lost focus. There have been months that have gone by that I haven't actually written a post for the first site. And you know, I'm pretending that I'm working on it for 24 months straight. I haven't done that, and it's because I've been distracted by other things. But the fact of the matter is, even if I told myself this 2 years ago, I wouldn't have listened. I had some of you tell me this 2 years ago. I didn't listen. So hopefully, no, you're not going to listen, are you? But that would be my advice. And just for me personally, another thing that's kind of killed my progress. So since I've been a member of Project 24, they have these special months twice a year, and they call it the Content Warrior Challenge. The idea is to write 60,000 words in a month, or the equivalent in videos. And I've participated in every single one since I joined in 2019. And you know, every single time I've written 60,000 words, either by myself or by filming that amount of videos, or I counted the editing for all the articles that I outsourced as well. But every single time I do that, the month after, it just kills my motivation. And I've had it where my first Content Warrior Challenge, I think for 2 months I didn't do anything practical on my first site. So my advice would be, try not to overdo things. Set yourself realistic goals. Writing, you know, 1 post a day for a year is possible, but it's going to take a lot out of you. So it would be better to write maybe 2 or 3 really good posts per month, or 1 really good post per week, rather than 7 really crappy posts, which is something I tended to do. And I guess another kind of piece of advice I would like to give myself, you know, for the last 2 years, real life gets in the way. Real life comes first. And in the last 2 years, things have been pretty terrible. I mean, just for us globally, this, you know, whole COVID crap that's been happening, you know, it's been really difficult for a number of reasons. And to be honest, I've been lucky that I lived in Taiwan, because until recently we haven't really been affected by it too much, but it's come back to get us more recently, and yeah, things aren't great in Taiwan right now. But for me, in my personal life, the last 2 years, things have really changed. That I got married, there's been illness in my family, both my grandparents died last year and I was stuck here. I couldn't go to the funeral, and you know, I spent a year trying to be the leader of a local social club, which took a lot out of me, and being, you know, basically losing my income because my, you know, didn't have enough hours for my work, and all this kind of stress. We often forget about it when we're trying to build these sites. And I think what I would like to say to myself is, give yourself a break. Allow yourself to, you know, take a step back and relax, and not keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because sometimes sitting in front of the computer all the time, it doesn't actually get you anywhere. Like this morning, I spent the best part of 2 hours just checking stats and doing nothing. It would be better for me to come for a walk, clear my head, then I go back and I'm going to be much more productive. So I guess that the biggest question for most of you who watch this channel on a regular basis is basically, Project 24, does it work? Is my failure the fault of income school? And I would say no, definitely not. I still think that Project 24 is a good system. I still feel like if you actually do what they tell you to do, that you're going to be successful. So I'm not going to stop suggesting otherwise. And we're all adults. We all know that I promote the affiliate link on this channel, and I'm not just saying that for the money, because it's actually one of those rare occasions where I found a really good affiliate offer that I can believe in, and that's not something you can find everywhere. But anyway, the point is, I will fully admit that I have not followed everything that Project 24 has told me to do. For the most part, it's just been me being too lazy or distracted. If I had done exactly what they said to do, I feel that I would have been much more successful. I've just allowed my own sort of distractions and own personal obstacles get in the way, really. So if you're thinking that Project 24 is a load of crap, I don't agree. I still think it's a really good system. I actually signed up for my 3rd year last week, so I've paid for that project, for that membership 3 times. That is how much I believe in it, even though after 24 months I've still not made a full-time income. I know it's just around the corner because of what's happening with my other sites, but today we're concentrating on the first site. So I guess this video was kind of to get a few things off my chest, maybe explain some reasons why things went wrong. I would love to be sitting here, and I fully expected to be sitting here after 2 years of being in Project 24 and tell you, yeah, I quit my job, I'm doing this full time, and I'm earning a full-time income. But the reality is, I'm not working that much. I am doing this full time, but my first site is only earning me about $100 a month. But it's not over. It's not over. I'm not giving up. I think that with what I've learned recently, and all the things I've learned over the last 2 years, all the things I've learned how to do, I will keep pushing, and I think that I could quickly turn this around. I think that if you take a step back, realize what you've been doing wrong, refocus, I think we can do this, guys.